As I pull up, dropping buckets. Hey, yeah, like it's nothing. In the kitchen, chopping onions.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Sports Podcast. I am your co-host, Arjun Garcia, where we're going to dive into everybody that's crushing it in their sport of real estate. I am your co-host, like I said. This is the hostess with the mostest.
Yes, sir. Eric Cusimanio.
Yeah, and who do we have today, Eric? I'm super excited about this one, man.
You guys are in for a treat for this one. We get a chance to interview my good buddy, my friend for many years now. We actually met at a real estate event. He's flipped over 800 homes, done over thousands of assignment fees, and right now I believe he has over 50 private money loans out. The guy is phenomenal, book of knowledge, so you're for a treat. He owns multifamily apartment buildings, and I could go on and on, single family homes. And he's joining us all the way out from Phoenix. So let's give it up for our guest, Brian Hoff.
Yeah. Brian, thank you so much for being on the podcast, man. You're traveling all these
Thank you for having me.
I heard so many incredible things from somebody that I just did my research on you today. But,
I'm an open book. You can ask me anything about it.
But for somebody like myself, talk to me about Brian before all the money. Who was Brian before all of this? And how did you grow up? And tell me a little bit how it started.
I grew up in Phoenix. I was there since I was 7, so I considered myself a native.
Nice.
I've watched it grow. I actually grew up in North Scottsdale.
Okay.
But moved out of there because it's too busy. There's too much going on. So now I'm in Phoenix, been in Central Phoenix now for the majority of my adult life. When I got out of college in Tucson, I decided that I didn't really want to work. I wanted to go get education by traveling.
Nice.
And I spent years abroad traveling through Europe.
Nice.
More time in Europe in my 20s than in the U.S. So what I do is I come back and I flip a couple houses, make 20, 30 grand, go back and spend it in Europe. It was cheap. It was cheaper back then. And I do it again. Come back for a year or two, do some listings as a realtor, flip a couple houses, make some money, go back and travel again. So I mapped out every country in Western Europe just about. And then in my 30s, I decided to settle down. It's time to kind of focus a lot. Bought the franchise of We Buy Ugly Houses in 2003.
We Buy Ugly Houses.
Yeah, I had that. You know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that for 10 years from 2003 to 2013. Well, there's several franchisees.
Gotcha.
I was one of the franchisees in Phoenix.
Nice.
And that's when I did a ton of houses. I wasn't doing loans in, but I was doing a ton of houses. And then in my 30s, I couldn't go away to Europe as much because I was more focused on building a portfolio.
Yeah.
And so what I would do is I go to Latin America. So because it was on same time schedule, I could still work for the most part at the same time, and I could do smaller stints like 3 days to 2 or 3 weeks. So I hit just about every country in Latin America. I think I haven't done like the Guyana, and I haven't done Brazil and Paraguay, but everywhere else I've been, including all of Central America.
Wow.
So that's what I did in my 20s and my 30s. In my 40s, I was planning on doing more Asia, and I did a little bit of it, like Vietnam, Cambodia, Japan, and Thailand. But COVID hit, so it kind of put a damper on things. So I always thought it was important to get my education out in the world by traveling, because you can learn a lot by traveling. It makes you very savvy and very smart, and you're responsible for yourself.
Yeah, elaborate a little bit more on that, because that's my first time ever hearing somebody say I got my education from travel.
Yeah, so done nearly 50 countries and winged them all. Never did a tour or anything, or never been on a cruise ship. Just going places, looking at a map, looking at a travel book, meeting people as I go and say, go to visit this place. Okay, I'll go to that place. You're responsible for your own food, where you're going to stay, if you're going to find a bathroom or not. So, Eric saw me today. I have bars. I have protein bars in my bag, always, because I learned that by traveling. You see the toilet paper I had there too? Because you learn to have toilet paper in your bag too. So you do this stuff, so it keeps you're prepared, and you have to take care of yourself. So this is kind of how I built who I was by traveling, because I figured I could learn. I did go to college, but I figured I could learn a lot more by being on the road and meeting people and learning about the world. And now it's cool, because every time I meet somebody, I'm like, oh, where are you from? What, Philippines? I know where you're from, and I know a little bit about you, and I've been there most of the time, which is super duper cool.
Relate so much.
I can relate to them, and I can say where they're from, or where my family came from this area, and that's cool. So I can build a lot of rapport doing that, and speaking Spanish also.
Yeah, he did say food.
Yeah, so there you go. There you go. So, and speaking Spanish too. So every time I meet somebody from Latin America, I know I've been all over Mexico, which is really good for this area also. So I kind of built who I was as a traveler, as a person. I made myself a better person by traveling. So if you ever want to do like self-betterment, self-improvement, you look in the mirror and you say why you're proud of yourself. And I looked in the mirror and I could say, I built who I was by going to these places. A lot of times traveling alone, being alone for 2 weeks at a time. And I built and I made myself,
Yeah.
never mind the money, never mind the real estate that I have.
Right.
This is who built me. This is how I built myself as a person.
It's huge.
Yeah.
What has that done for your perspective on money?
I've seen a lot of poverty out there that you guys have no idea.
Yeah.
And it makes you value this country because you can do it in this country. People that say bad things about the U.S. and aren't patriotic kind of pisses me off because go somewhere else, get out there, see the world,
Right.
see if they have it like we have. I've been to Cuba twice.
Wow.
Go see other places.
Yeah.
Go see what they have and see if you can compare them to the luxuries we have and things that we have and the opportunities that we have in this country that other places don't have.
This is true.
Go do that and then say, oh, the U.S. is so bad. You're not going to do it. You're going to say, oh my God, you're so right.
Yeah.
People that want communism or they say these different
Right.
socialism. Dude, go
They've
fucking
never
fucking
it.
Cuba.
Yeah.
Go see how it is.
Yeah.
Go to Scandinavia. If you think Sweden's so great, go to Scandinavia. I lived there for 6 months.
Yeah.
Go there and see how it is. And it's great and all, but you're right in the middle.
Yeah.
You're not going to be rich. You're not going to be poor. You're right in the middle. You don't have the opportunity to have the things that we have.
Right.
And yeah, maybe a single woman could live on her own, but there might be like one car per family.
Yeah.
And they live in apartments.
Right.
We have houses.
Yeah.
Like 25-year-olds with houses and cars and Teslas.
Yeah.
They don't have that.
Right.
And it's all about capitalism.
Yeah.
So it gave me a good perspective on why I'm proud of who I am or why I'm proud of my country.
Huge.
Like an immigrant gives you a different perspective on like how to work and what's available, opportunities out there for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And the opportunities that are around. So it makes me respect everything. And I've seen that I've been to Egypt, for example. So as far as developing who I am as a person and using travel to do that, because I enjoyed it. I didn't have to work.
Yeah.
I'd make money in the U.S. and then go travel, spend it in other places. But it made me respect our country because I saw poverty that we didn't have, like in Egypt and other places. And that we have class mobility. You can be born in the lower class and work yourself up into the upper class.
Right.
You can do that. People do it all the time. It's much more difficult to do that in other countries.
Yeah. I agree.
We have the opportunity to do that with education or without education. I think when I was younger, education, like college, was more important than it is now. Now you have social media, other things, and there's books available. I also had a ton of self-improvement books along the way.
Yeah.
And a lot of people complain, like younger generation, you can't do this. I can't make it. I'm stuck with this job. Well, how many self-improvement books have you bought? How many boot camps have you been to? This is how you make yourself
Put yourself
wealthy.
in the right moves.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many people do you know? How many people do you know that smoke pot every day?
Yeah.
Because that's who they're hanging out with.
Right.
How many people that are millionaires you hang out with? Because this is one thing I've probably told Eric this because I live by this, is that it's like osmosis. You get around people that are successful and it just sinks in. Opportunities just come around.
Yeah.
And if you don't and you have loser friends or people that aren't trying to be better and trying to be successful, you're not going to get there.
Yeah.
It sinks in like osmosis. I don't know. But my life was completely different when I started to hang around older people that were multimillionaires. Opportunities came around, whether they introduced me to the right people or they introduced me to the right banks, or it just sinks in a different conversation, which conversations are huge. Who you're hanging out with.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get better, you're trying to make a conversation regarding, what you're going to have for dinner or who did what to who, or you can have a conversation on, dude, how can I scale my business bigger? How many houses can I flip this year?
Yeah.
What can we do differently?
Right.
Like working out in auctions wasn't working so well. So I started doing loans, started helping people before the auction, reinstating mortgages. So
yeah.
what
Doing
can I
something
do?
that other people aren't doing.
Being creative, dude, because it's all about strategy.
So, you said something I caught on to. You said, I never really had to worry about money because I would go travel and I would come back and I would flip a couple of homes.
Yeah.
How were you finding those deals back then and in making the money? And then how much was the money that you wanted to make before you could go travel to another country?
This is what really everybody wants, especially like younger generation like you guys. This is what people want to hear is about the money. Okay. So I would knock on doors of foreclosures.
Okay.
Every county across the country has to advertise before they have an auction. So, and some places like in Phoenix, I think it's like 4 weeks. Some places 6 weeks, whatever. You have to advertise. So I would get the newspaper articles, find out where they're having the auctions. I'd cut those out and I'd go knock on those doors. And I'd look for properties where the loan's probably paid down, right? I'd go talk to the owner. If there's I'd also do my encumbrance check, make sure there's no second, thirds on the property. And that was what I was looking at, or sometimes I'd buy the second or third and foreclose myself. But I'd go out and I'd find the properties that are going to sale and I go talk to the owner and see what their plans are. And then try to give the owner as little as possible, but give them something and then take over that mortgage, fix the house and sell it.
Yeah.
Because this is interesting. is this is important too, that you guys probably know this, but not everybody knows this, is just because there's a mortgage on the house doesn't mean you can't deed the house to me. There's two things. There's a deed of trust and there's a deed.
Yeah.
Very different things. The deed of trust is the lien against the property. So everybody thinks but you can't deed it to me because that deed of trust is on there. It means nothing. You could deed me your house right now and leave that loan in place. And now I'm making payments on your loan.
Subject to.
Yeah, subject to.
Yeah.
And I made a fortune doing that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hundreds of houses.
Really?
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, well, there's doing sale clauses, but to tell you the truth, the banks just
They don't.
they really
Once
don't
they're
care.
getting their money.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
don't, exactly.
I bought 2 houses that way this year.
They don't care.
One came with $400,000 in equity.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you make on it?
I still have it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Are you gonna flip it or?
No, it's a long term.
It's gonna be great. Oh, okay,
turning
cool.
into a duplex.
Badass deal.
Yeah.
So, I would do like $20,000-$30,000 a house,
Nice.
flip a couple houses, make 50-60 grand, and then go travel again.
Did you ever keep any of those, or when did you start building like that portfolio?
I did when
aspect?
I think last time I spent 13 months in Europe, and I was 28 years old, and I had 5 houses when I went.
Okay.
So yeah, I would keep. What I started out my career going like condos and townhouses in Tempe and Scottsdale because they were really appreciating.
Yeah.
And then as I got older and I started learning more about cash flow, as I started getting more involved in more multifamily and realized how important cash flow is, and I started getting away from just appreciation. Now I want cash flow, and so I got out of those townhouses and condos because the HOA dues
Yeah.
were getting ridiculous. $250, $300, $350 a month. It was eating my cash flow. So I got out of those, rolled those into property. And sometimes I had to sell 2 condos to buy 1 house, but it did a lot better. So I was dealing more with cash flow than the appreciation I'd have on. The 2 condos appreciate more than 1 house, but now I have cash flow coming in, and it's more sustainable.
Yeah.
So when I got the franchise, then I started doing flips. I do assignments for, I do $1,000 assignments, and I did $80,000, $90,000 assignments that I didn't even touch.
Wow.
Because we had the phone ringing all the time. People are calling saying, I want to sell my house. And when people call, you have a lot less competition.
Yeah.
So when you're knocking on doors, you got to compete with 5 or 6 guys a lot of the times.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But when they're calling you, they're kind of desperate. They're in a situation. And lots of times they just think you're going to be the same as everybody else.
Right.
And they want to sell. They're more interested that way when they call you.
With the We Buy Houses franchise, how were they getting those inbound leads? Were they doing advertising, billboards? PPP?
It was billboards. It was called Home Investors is the company. It's out of Dallas. And they had billboards everywhere. They don't do billboards anymore. They're doing a lot more direct mail. I'm not a part of it, but I think they're doing a lot more direct mail. Here's a lot of direct mail. We had cost per call on TV commercials. So I pay $150 a call coming in. And then I had billboards. We'd have like 100 billboards up at a time.
Wow.
We'd spend like my franchise alone would spend $15,000 to $25,000 a month in advertising.
Wow.
A slow month would be $10,000 a month in advertising. And there was 12 franchises, so we easily do $120,000 to $150,000 a month. We dominated Phoenix for 5 years, and then 2008 hit. 2003 to 08, and then 2008 hit. And then it's like no matter what you bought, it was going down in value. So it kind of sat on the sidelines.
So you've navigated a couple of crashes.
Dude, that was the worst.
That was the worst.
It was like 6-7 years of doing nothing. Just I found a little zip code that I could buy in and buy them like REOs.
Yeah.
Like at lowball banks. And they have a property on like for sale at 60, and I come in and offer them 50, get that, flip it, and then I'd be able to flip it for like 110, 120. So I was able to do 17 of those in like 2010, 2012. And that's what kept me going because I was doing probably 20 to 40,000 a house. Yeah. But it was just, I targeted a zip code, said this is close to my office. This zip code works. And banks are willing to come down here.
Yeah.
About trying to take properties away from banks.
Right.
Because they had all the properties.
I remember in 2008, my mom lost her house. And so I remember what that did to people. But what did that do for you as far as what did you learn from there and how are you applying it now? Because a lot of people are saying, oh, the market's in bad shape, shouldn't be buying right now. Are you still buying right now?
I'm still buying if the right deal comes up. I don't see, it's not like it's declining huge numbers like that. You can't
I don't
compare
see
this.
that
You
either.
can't compare this to 08,
Right.
9. I think you can buy right now as long as you're buying deep enough. You can definitely hold right now.
Yeah.
Wait till it comes back. I'm holding on to some things right now. So I'm still getting rentals. I'm flipping a couple a year.
Okay.
And they're usually properties that I take back from giving loans. Or I bought 2 houses just to flip last year.
Okay.
I did really well on one, and then I lost. Probably did 80,000 on one, and I lost 40 on another. So it made me lose. Like I'm not running out to do another one, but if one comes up and it's a good enough deal, and I know it's a good area, then I'll jump on it, and I'm good with it. Because the market's not crashing, dude. It was scary. I mean, the crowd was really crashing,
Yeah.
and everybody was losing their house. Like the
Yeah.
fact your mom lost a house is nothing because everybody
Yeah,
was losing it.
everybody, yeah.
Didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
One of my fellow franchisees lost 15 houses and their personal house and their office.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't lose anything.
Wow.
Well, I want to preserve my credit. So the house I'd buy, here's a good example. I'd buy a house for 140, it was worth 200. I buy a house for 140. Within 3 or 4 months, it's worth 170. 3 or 4 months later, it's worth 140. How am I going to make money on this now? 3 or 4 months later, I went down to 50,000. House that was worth 200 went to 50.
You bought for 140.
Yeah. So I had but I had a lot of credit on it for like 100. I refied a few of them, pulled out lines of credit on them, and just sat on those lines of credit. Now they weren't giving me good loans. They were like 7.5% at the time, which was huge. And then it was like $100,000. So pull out 300,000 and just live on that and make payments on that. Stick a renter in it until things came back.
Right.
It might have been smarter to me just walk away and let 10 houses go to foreclosure, and then 7 years later I get my credit back, everything back, and not have to do what I did because I spent a lot of money supporting those on negative cash flow. But I didn't do that. I didn't know it was going to come back, and I wanted to support my credit, and so I didn't take the hit. I didn't walk away from anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you survived.
Survived.
Didn't lose anything.
I tried, but it was scary. I didn't know. I mean, I think I came out of pocket like $200,000 or $300,000 just to negative cash flow every month. And there was a time with advertising, I was losing $20,000 a month. I cut off advertising, then I was losing $8,000 a month, and then I put renters in the properties, and I was losing $5,000 a month, and I just fed that, and that was going on for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
you
wasn't
just
fun.
lived off the HELOCs or the seconds that you turn on.
Yeah, and I flip a little bit of houses on the side, like I was saying, 17 houses over 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
The
market recovered.
Yeah, a lot of people got out of the business.
Yeah.
That's when you really see like the realtors that aren't good get out. The realtors that aren't savvy will say, I'm out. Like the stay-at-home moms and stuff like that, they're out of the business.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
come back in herds, but they're out because they're not going to do anything during that time period.
For sure.
No, it
Yeah.
tanks.
We've been doing this for over 30 years. A lot of our viewers are like wholesalers, fix and flippers. You're very well rounded. You door knocked yourself. You also had a franchise. You buy houses. What's a good piece of advice? Like, if you wanted to get a deal today, what would you do?
Well, there's a lot of different ways now that people can approach it. Different ways that I had. There's companies that are cold calling people that have callers in the Philippines or in Belize. Yeah. Yeah, and they're calling people, and then they pass them on to you when they have a good lead, and then you're going to wholesale with somebody else, right? So I would make contacts with those wholesalers and get on their distribution list. Try to pick up on emails from those guys. You can knock on doors, or you can go down to the sales where there's auctions every couple of weeks, or in my city, it's almost every day. But you guys can go to sales, get in with people, because those guys are buying and flipping to somebody else. And there's bird dogs that show up down there that can bring you deals. So
They're showing auctions too?
Yeah, there's all kinds of guys throwing the auction trying to bid. You get to know people. Go to 2 or 3 auctions, get to know people, talk to them. They're going to want to sell. They're going to wholesale houses. They can't hold everything. You're going to want to sell stuff. And all those guys make their business on wholesaling stuff. They'll knock it up a couple $1,000, wholesale to somebody else.
They'll buy it and then sell it.
Yeah, that's what they
Buy
do.
it through auction.
Yep. Because they can't do everything. There's guys in there buying 20 a week.
Wow.
They're not going to hold on to all that. So they're doing that to pawn it off on other people. So look for those guys for wholesaling. And there's a lot of distribution lists that you can get onto. I have connections with attorneys that send me stuff as well. That's if I was going to start, I'd go to auctions, get to know people, and I'd also get on wholesale lists where people that are wholesaling properties are unloading them. I'm going to do a course more on knocking on doors because that's what I know.
Yeah,
that's my history. And I picked up wholesale properties for people left and right. I've done a lot of that, but and I've done a lot of advertising, which gets very expensive. And that's the best thing to do, but it's a fortune. And I know how to pick up a lot of property by advertising. But I think my specialty is knocking on doors. I'm good with it. I think if I were trying to do as many houses as possible, I'd talk to wholesalers and pick up 1 or 2. You're not going to buy everything wholesalers because they're not all deals.
Right.
But once in a while, one's going to skip to the craps. You're going to be the first one that calls and says, I'll take that. Or it's going to be a neighborhood that you want. And you say, it's next to my other rental. Perfect. I want it.
Yeah.
So that's a good way to get started.
Love that. No, that's great advice. And we knock doors. We're good with cold callers. I feel like the only thing that we haven't really tackled is the auctions. I feel like that was huge.
Go talk to those people. If you're also going to get people to wholesale too at the auctions.
Right.
So you guys pick up a property, you're going to get buyers because those guys are used to coming in with cash and buying 85% of value. The best buyers you're going to find are at auctions. And they're used to doing it sight unseen.
Yeah.
It's going to be great buyers for you.
No inspections, you buy it.
Usually a cash because they're right cashier's checks to buy those.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about auctions, like your experience? Because I know you were doing auctions with like big hitters back in the day, and like you guys had a little method to the madness.
I bought hundreds of houses at sale. You know, probably more than 400, maybe 500
through auction.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so the trust, well, it's different in every state. So it's hard to, I don't know what it's like in California. I don't know what somebody's watching from Missouri. I don't know what it's like there. I only know really what Arizona auctions are like. And there's usually 50 to 100 people there bidding. If it's a good deal, if it's not such a good deal, you might have 5 or 10, or sometimes nobody shows up. It depends on how far the property is encumbered. So the starting bid is going to be at what's owed on the property on who's ever foreclosing. Let's just say it's a first mortgage. Yeah. Say the first is foreclosing, then that's going to be the starting bid. So in Arizona, the first person who bids, or the bidding goes up, and the winning bidder has to give the trustee or the auctioneer $10,000, and they hold that. Now the property's held for 24 hours. They have 24 hours to come in with the rest of the money. If they don't, then that $10,000 goes to the person having the sale, the person foreclosing. Mm-hmm.
When you went to these auctions, obviously, how many houses, did you know the amount of houses that you were going to bid on? Did you know the addresses?
Yeah, I'd researched the houses. I probably talked to the owner by then.
Oh,
And the owner, they're the most procrastinating people alive. Oh, I'm going to fix it. I'll fix it. And then they don't. All right, well, then let's go to sale. And I already know everything about the house. I talked to the owner forever. So now I've done my research. I'm really familiar with it. So that I know pretty much what's wrong with it. I talked to the owner, or the owner blew me off. But I followed the house. I've been following the house for 3 or 4 weeks. Gotcha. And there's usually 2 or 3 houses when I'm going to sale.
Gotcha. So you know what you've been done already. You kind of seen the condition, drove by it.
Yeah, and I'm good at walking around the house. I can tell you within a couple of minutes what it's going to cost me to fix it.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your strategy when it comes to that?
Experience. You go inside and I fix this, whatever. You know.
Yeah, because you've done it so many times.
Yeah, I know so many times that I know what things cost. Now I can't fix anything myself. It's a secret, but I know what things cost.
Yeah.
You know, I know what I should be paying somebody. I know what it costs at Home Depot to go in there and do that.
Yeah.
And I know how long. Everybody underestimates like how long it's going to take to flip a house.
Yeah.
So I know how long it's going to take to do these sort of repairs. Right. So I know this is a 2-month fix. This is a month fix. This is going to be a 3-month fix. This one's real bad. So I have an idea of, and that's what's expensive. Yeah. Sitting on your money. Right. And then putting on the market and sitting on it 6 months. And everybody overprices things because they're falling in love with it. Right. And that kills you. You don't want to ever put up one of your own houses on and overprice it, because then it's going to take 3 or 4 months to sell and buyers lose interest. Right. So then all of a sudden you're way down where you should have started in the beginning, and just $30,000, $40,000. Right. I'm still doing it with my level of experience. I lowered a property probably $60,000 last year. That was the one I took the hit on. Mm. It just kept coming down. And I think I followed the market down. The market was kind of going down in Tempe. Tempe took a big hit last year also in 2005, and I kind of followed it down rather than just starting low and let the market run into it. Mm-hmm. I followed it all the way down, held on the property too long, and took a $40,000 hit. Yeah,
so I saw the market starting to turn back in maybe October of last year. And so what I was starting to do was telling all of our agents to start pricing accordingly, because what people were doing was still thinking the market was going to catch up to the price, and then ended up chasing the market down. We started pricing this way, and then we had the market catch up to us. That's why we were selling so many in the fourth quarter, because I told my team to adjust.
You lowered it, and the market came into you? Yeah, that's what you want to do.
But then we were getting 10, 15,000 above asking, because we were the lowest in the neighborhood, and people were like, why? So everybody would come through, outbid each other.
See the strategy for listing?
Yeah.
You come in like lower than value, and then just like let it bid up.
That's the strategy that works. Yeah. We're like, what the hell? The house across the street is priced at $520. You're at $499. Yeah. Let me see what that one's about.
That's a good strategy if you're in a market that's going down and you want to get out of it, or don't know what to price it at. Yeah. Well, you don't want to get stuck with it.
So we had like maybe 1,200 homes up on market last year, back in October, November, and it was trending upwards. Usually that's a full-blown buyer's market in my market. So I've been a part of that, as I saw the same thing in 2018, and that was a strategy that we were doing. So I was just telling the whole team to pivot. So it was pretty cool.
1,200 homes in this county? In the city?
Yeah, okay. The city. Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's honestly a lot.
I follow that too. Like a lot of new people don't know that, but you follow how many listings are available, how many active listings. Follow that all the time. Yeah. When that got down, like in 2005 in Phoenix, it got down like 3,500, 2,500. Dude, it's skyrocketing. Yeah. You put a house on the market, it's getting for 40,000 more than what you put it on for. Dude. And then right now it's at 14,000. So you know things aren't going well. Just kind of trying to hang in there.
Exactly.
At one point in like 08, 09, it was at like 50,000. So it went from like 2,500 to 50,000.
It's insane.
You know you weren't going to get out of the house.
Right. Everybody was trying to
And banks, this is what happened. You guys don't know why the crash happened? Because the banks took all these houses back, and instead of like spoon feeding them out, they just dumped them all on there in the market.
And nobody could get out fast enough.
Yep.
Because they had too much
inventory. All the banks
adjusted. So they were doing out arms.
So they didn't want to lend. What the bank should have done is spoon fed it out and spread it over 15 years.
Yeah.
or however long
Oh,
it
like
took them to
panic
get out.
salt. Everybody panics.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it crashed.
That's insane. You mentioned something that Eric kind of mentioned as well, but don't fall in love with the house. I
Yeah.
did that last year with one of my flips.
I did too. I still do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the worst.
Yeah.
One of the worst that like, wow, this would look nice in here. Like it's my house.
And the
Talk to me about
overkill, the
the-
fixing.
Yeah, talk to
Yeah.
me about the biggest loss that you've had while flipping, if you don't mind sharing.
No, I'm thinking I've had some losses, but I don't know what my biggest one is. The one last year didn't feel really good. It's because I fell in love with it. I put a lot of money. I put granite and waterfall
Yeah.
and everything good in it because it was in a good area. But happened to be that Tempe took like the biggest hit out of all of Maricopa County. So that was one of the bigger hits I think I've done on a flip. Usually, flipping, you make 40, 50, 100 grand. When you lose, you're only losing like 3 to 5 grand. It doesn't hurt too bad.
Right.
This one hurt because it was probably over 40 grand. I don't even look at the numbers. I don't want to know. Just happy to get my. When that happens, you're so happy to get your money
Yeah, I
back.
know.
Even if it's like a lot less than you put in, you're like, dude, I'm just happy to get out of it.
I
So
know.
that, but and then I listed it too high. An appraiser sold it to me, and she told me to list it really high because she's probably it was her neighbor. It was around the corner from her house, so she's trying to get. And I put it lower than she said, but I sat there and followed the market down. But I believe what she was saying. I believe what other people were saying, and I followed the market down because I just thought it was. I mean, I raised the ceiling. I thought it was going to be worth that, but there wasn't enough buyers out there. I'm not kind of guy that's going to sit in an open house.
Yeah.
I listed it myself. I don't list houses very often, but I listed myself, and I'm not going to sit in an open house.
Yeah.
Nobody else wanted to do that. Some broker regulation, they're not going to let their agents sit in open houses of other brokers. So they just sat there and you say it was just a big hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you got your money back. Some of it.
So I got enough of it to say, okay, I made money on one, and I lost money on one.
Yeah.
I'm good. Now I'm going to be more cautious.
Yeah.
I could have turned it to rental. I could have turned it to Airbnb if I really wanted.
Yeah.
It would have been a badass Airbnb.
Is it big?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But I probably could have done $4,000 a month on it.
Wow.
I didn't want to mess with it though.
Yeah.
I don't want to hassle with it. My time's better spent doing other things. And you got to furnish it. Furnishing it's going to cost 30, 40 grand.
Right.
I didn't want to be into it more. Right. And then once the time's up, because I'm going to want to sell it, and then what do I do with all the furniture?
Right.
I've got 11 Airbnbs too. By the way, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
We dabbled in Airbnb and in Anaheim, but Disney, we're like, no. So they shut that down.
Yeah, it's not a thing in California. So
Yeah.
is it? I've heard that. I was
Good.
looking in San Diego, they're like, we don't really allow them.
Yeah. Even Vegas has stopped.
Really?
Yeah. They haven't
Yeah.
regulated it.
Hotels come in and don't like the
Yeah,
idea.
they didn't like the idea. Disney didn't like the idea. But talk to me a little bit about who were you hanging out with? How'd you learn the game? And I know you started in the 20s, you said. So Eric tells me all the time, proximity is power. So who was your circle, and how did you meet them?
I had a leg up. I had a real advantage. I'll be honest. My uncle had already been in real estate for 11 years before I got in, and in Colorado, he was making millions.
Nice.
In Denver.
Okay.
Now my cousin has 2 or 3 franchises in Colorado with We Buy houses. Also, they got me into it in Phoenix, but they kept them and they made it a business. And then my uncle got my dad in. So my dad was in 6 months before me. I got in. I got my license in '96, and I started flipping with my dad a little bit. Then I went off with a buddy. And then when the franchise rolled around and my uncle and my cousin got in the franchise, I got in the franchise as well. We got out 10 years later because the market tanked in Phoenix. Their market didn't tank in Colorado. One, they didn't have the upswing like we had in 05 and 06, but then they didn't have a downturn like we had. We got crushed. So I had family involved. And then I met a lot of people in the franchise system and connections from the trustee sales and whatnot. And then later on, when I started, I wasn't looking for flips so much. I was doing loans. And I needed loans to be able to give loans. And I ended up with my neighbor by chance. Turns out he funded a business school in Fullerton, and he was a CEO of 2 NASDAQ companies.
Wow.
So he really had a lot, and he had a lot of connections. He introduced me to another guy who has 19 apartment complexes. That's why I got into multifamily, because the guy he introduced me to. Yeah. He also introduced me to the banker, the president of MidFirst, and people at MidFirst Bank, who said, he said, if they won't give you money, he's like, I don't want to say a few dozen million with them, and if they won't give you money, then tell me, and I'll take all my money away from them. And I said, can I say that? And he said, yeah. I said, all right, cool. So I went in there, but I didn't have to pull that card. I didn't need to.
Wow.
Yeah, but because they said this, you're the kind of investor that we're looking for. We want to grow with you, but I didn't have to pull that card. But it made me pompous as hell, and I was like, I'm going to get those no matter what.
Yeah.
I got this guy behind me, so that helps. It helps having connections.
Yeah.
You know, the guy was like,
I'd love to have that in my back pocket.
yeah, I did.
Hey,
Yeah.
sure.
Like I was like a dad. I mean, I went Canada with them a few times, went to Cabo with them a few times. It's like a dad to me.
Nice.
So it's nice to have connections like that and introduce you to people and tell you which direction to go in your business and how you grow your business.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your portfolio if you're open about it?
Yeah, sure.
Um,
I am. I talk about it all the time. So at the moment, I think I have 19 rentals. I just got a tenant out, and I'm going to sell that one. So I'm going to go to 18. But then I'm probably going to, I'm going to foreclose on another one. I'm probably going to keep that one. So I'll be at 19 again, I think. And then I've got, that's not including my vacation homes and whatnot. Like I'm about to buy one in Mexico on the beach. And then I've got one in Washington. Those are the ones in Phoenix that I manage myself. But then I've got one in Washington that's rented in Sequim, Washington. That's like a $1 million house, 2-story on 20 acres. That's a rental mile. And then I've got a house in Texas that's an Airbnb when I'm not there. And then, so altogether, I think it's like, I don't know, 23, 24 houses, I think. I have 2 in Flagstaff that I don't manage, they're Airbnbs. And then I've got an apartment complex in Texas that's 41 units.
wow.
And then I've got a house in Texas that's an Airbnb when I'm not there. Yeah. And then I've got also over 40 loans out that are at anywhere between 12% and 28%. Those are all in Phoenix.
Private equity.
Yeah. No, just private money that's all my money that I've given out. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm not brokering it. That's how I get around a lot of laws because it's all my money that I'm loaning out.
Wow.
But they're all seconds. I've probably got a couple fourth positions on there. I haven't got 1 or 2 first too, but most of them are second mortgages that I have against houses with a lot of equity behind it that I just kind of let, that's passive income. I just did a modified one last week, but for the most part, I'm not looking for more at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to take a break for a little bit and chill out.
The multifamily or the apartment complex was Class A, Class B.
It's Class C, and I think it's Class B minus now. It wasn't great. I didn't know the town. I was encouraged to do it. My buddy who has a bunch of apartment complexes got me into it. The guy I was talking about, I was 19, got me in and told me to do it, and I did it. He's like, if you don't know, I'm going to. This is a good deal. I think it was a good deal. It changed my life in a lot of ways because you're doing big numbers now.
Right.
You're bringing in big numbers, and you're like, get a loan. Just a loan alone is $30,000.
Yeah.
You want to fix a fence, that's $20,000. You want to fix a parking lot. I spent $19,000 for parking lot last year. It's just such big numbers, so it just becomes like you don't think about it so much. But every month I'm bringing in between 20 and 30,000. So you're also bringing in big numbers.
Is
So
that
it's
cash?
changed. Yeah, I have to the mortgage 10,000, and the rest of it's in my pocket.
Wow.
That I most of the time is putting it into making the apartment better. But not right now. Right now I'm just accumulating the money from it. Because I took 8 out and made them into Airbnbs.
Got it.
So they say, yeah. And like this weekend, George Strait's playing there. So that's going to be a $15,000 to $18,000 a month.
Yeah.
And then next month, May is graduation. I'm going to kill it. Last year of May, I did 18,000.
Smart.
So, and then the football games, Texas Tech is 2 miles away. So the football games, I kill it with the Airbnb. So I like being next to universities. That's my secret. I like being next to universities. You've got graduations, you've got homecoming, you've got the football games. The football games, Texas Tech. I mean, every game I'm filling up.
Yeah.
And I'm filling up.
Short-term rentals.
Yeah. The Airbnbs, they're short. I get some long-term in there too, nurses and construction, what's going on in the town. But the big money is the weekends, like the football games, because you got a 2-night minimum. Lots of times people for 3 nights, and it's $500 a night times 8 units
So
on a 2-night minimum.
you're actually running your apartment building like a hotel.
8 of them. The rest of them are stability. Yeah.
That's
Diversify.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I invented that. No one else was doing that. I did it. Now everybody in the town is starting to do it too. They want to
Yeah.
put some Airbnbs in.
Yes.
The best of the 1-bedrooms, by the way.
My mentor was very on that. They would go to like all the new construction that they see, and they'll talk to the developer and say, "We'll rent them all out."
Yeah.
I was running it like Airbnbs at that time.
Yeah.
Man, that's
The cool thing, okay, here's the deal about taking Airbnbs in your apartment complex. It's 2 miles from the university, so things are going well there. But like when you have an apartment, you get vacancies.
yeah.
And those vacancies can easily be like 6 months,
I know.
and you got to fix it and all the mess. When you have an Airbnb, you don't have the same kind of repair expenses. You replace a couch here and there, or a
Right.
table, but it's nothing like countertops
Yeah.
that tenants do, or
Right.
flooring that tenants do. And on the worst month, I'll do $500.
Right.
When it's vacant for 6 months, 3 to 6 months, you don't do anything.
Right.
So it's a lot. If you do the math, it makes sense. You have to pay the furniture, and the furniture is probably 15, 20 grand on an apartment, so that kind of sucks. But then after a couple of years, you make it up and it's all profit because you don't have the same kind of repair expenses nor vacancy that you do on a regular apartment complex.
Right.
They take better care of it.
Business expenses.
So your two big expenses,
Vacancies.
vacancy and the repairs. Yeah. So you cut that down as much as you can.
You mentioned something. You had like 50 loans out or something like that.
You got over 40.
40. How are you? What makes you feel like, okay, I'm comfortable lending this? Is it experience? What if they don't have any experience? Is you look at
Who doesn't have any experience?
let's say that it's a brand new investor. One of our followers.
Does they want to do this?
Yeah, and they're like, let me get a loan from this guy, man. What are you looking for?
All right. First thing you want to do is check your encumbrances.
Okay.
Make sure there's a lot of equity
Okay.
behind you. So you want to make sure that with your loan, you're only encumbering it to maybe 70% of value. So if it goes to auction, so if you have to do your own foreclosure, most likely somebody's going to bid it. You don't end up with it unless you want to. And you don't foreclose, you let it run up.
Right. That makes sense.
For the most part, you want to make sure there's enough equity in it that if it goes to auction, somebody's going to bid it. That's different in every county, but that's the way I do it.
Got it.
So
it makes sense.
it's got to make sense with encumbrances. I'm okay with doing second, third, fourth loans on it or positions. Not everybody is. I'd say start out with first or seconds. But I'd like to do small numbers. I like to do $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. And that's what I'm comfortable with a lot of equity behind me. So a little bit of money with a lot of equity behind me that I have to foreclose. I'm going to get that. If the first starts to foreclose, I reinstate the first and then start my own foreclosure on my second.
Right.
Okay.
Just to have this in there, you're lending to homeowners, not investors.
Both. Some investors, yeah, but I'm loaning to homeowners that are probably they're going to do something business like with their money, or they're going to stop their auction or whatever they're going to do. Right. But I have loaned to investors if they need a little bit here and there. I've loaned investors or people that recently I did a construction worker that I could do all this. I could do all these jobs here if you could loan me the money to get the materials and hire the workers. All right, well, put the lien on your house and I'll give you $20,000 and put the lien on your house. Now I do a 20% origination fee, so I'm out of pocket 20 and I start the loan at 24. So I invented $4,000. Now he owes me 24 even though I'm out of pocket 20.
Correct.
Now it's 12%. After 30 days of default, my default interest rate goes to 28%.
Wow.
So I got all these loans out there right now. About a third of them don't pay at all. Maybe make one or two payments and don't pay at all. After 30 days, it goes to 28%. So we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars at 28%. Right. You're not going to find a stock do that. And it's against a property, so it's safe.
Right.
So there's a couple things that happen. I could get wiped out by the superior judgment, like a first mortgage or a superior lien. So they could foreclose before me. So every 60 days, I look and make sure there's no other foreclosures being started. Now they have to give me notice, but just in case, I look myself on every one of them, have somebody look at that for me, make sure. And if they're in foreclosure, which happens a lot, I reinstate that, and then I start my own foreclosure. So, dude, you're going to wipe me out. You're making me at risk of losing my money. So I start my own foreclosure. So that's one thing you do. That's one thing you could lose money is you get wiped out. That's why everybody's afraid to do second, third, fourth positions. The other thing that could happen is the house could burn down. So what you want to do is make sure that you get added on their insurance policy, their homeowner's insurance, as an additional insured. So there's two things that can happen.
That's the jump.
Other than that,
prior to loaning the money, you got to be added to it.
It's part of the process. I do it afterwards, but it's they're in default if they don't do it. So if they don't do it, they're automatically getting their interest rate, and I can foreclose on them. Saying I'm calling the loan due because you are in default. You didn't live up to what you said you're going to do. So you want to make sure that you got your additional insured, and you want to make sure that your lien priority is taken care of. Those are two ways you could lose money. Other than that, dude, it's a credit card against their house. You're eating up their equity all the time. And a lot of the loans, I got $150 minimum payment, and it's a $30,000 loan. So at 12%, so yeah, 12%. 12% on $30,000 is $300 a month, but they're only making me $150 a month. So there's $150 spread that I'm making. Their loan's growing at $150. Right.
It's compounding.
I understand that's compounding too.
Yeah. And how long are these loans supposed to be for?
I do 2 years. If I look at the borrower and I see that the borrower isn't a good borrower and I'm kind of worried about him, then I'll just do 1 year. Or if there's not a big equity position, I'm a little shaky on it, then I'm going to just do a 1 year loan. I've done that a couple times, and I'm going to start doing more of those. Most of the time I do 2 years because I'm like, here's the thing. This is how you use psychology with your business. Everybody's life is going to be different 2 years. Where are you going to be in 2 years? You're going to have another kid? You'll be married? What are you going to be? What's going to be different with you?
Probably another kid, probably somewhere else.
But you won't. You'll be the same place.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks, oh, you're going to have a yacht in 2 years. Yeah. Everybody thinks you're going to be in a different position. There's people that are go-getters. You're one of them. But there's these kind of people, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be in a better position. Their credit's still going to suck.
Right.
They're not going to have a better job. They're not going to be able to refi.
Right.
And it's hard to refi in this, when they got the loan, it was 2020 and they got a 3% interest. Now they're getting a 6.5% interest and they can't do it.
Right.
So they can't qualify anymore. They say they can, but they say their life's going to be different. They're not going to be making more money. Their life's not going to be different. So you say it's a 2-year loan, your life's going to be totally different then. But it does give them the opportunity to get the credit in order and get back on their feet.
Yep.
They just don't.
Yeah.
This is the kind of people we're dealing with.
1 out of 10. What would you say? Like actually, you pay it off.
1 out of 10.
1 out of 10.
If that. A third of them don't even make a payment, dude. How much experience do you have with foreclosures?
I not know what.
Okay. Do you have any? It's a different. Well, like working foreclosures as far as getting listings or buying them.
Like
It's a different breed of person. Yeah, it's a different breed of person. They're procrastinators.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're delusional.
And a lot of people are going to see this, and thousands of people are going to see this, maybe tens of thousands actually, and they're going to say these are poor people. They can't pay. But dude, in this market now, it was different in 08. Everybody lost their houses, but in this market, people that aren't making their payments, especially if they got a 3.5% loan, they're people that walked away, that have given up, or maybe something went really wrong in their life, but they're not pulling it together.
Right.
And they think they're going to pull it together, and they're not pulling it together. And that's where you come in. You can offer them a loan, get back on their feet, or you can buy their property. And you get to make the decision of how moral you want to be with that decision. I think a 12% loan is a pretty damn good deal.
Yeah.
Some people, but everybody else is knocking on their door saying, dude, I'm going to give you $5,000 for $200,000 in equity.
You're right. Everyone's talking about the house. I'm still there.
Yeah. And I never really liked that. I never felt good about doing that so much.
Yeah.
I tried to give them as much as I could.
Yeah.
So you found your niche.
I did. And the loans, dude, like when you buy a house from people that don't want to sell, it's confrontational. And then you got to fix it. You got to fight with the workers. And then you're going to list it and fight with the other agent. You're going to fight with the appraiser. And then this all makes sense. It's all confrontational.
Yeah.
I don't know how fucking lawyers do it.
Work. Yeah.
So when you give a loan, they love you. You're the happiest person in the world. They think you're great. And they come back a couple months later or 6 months later. Hey, dude, can I have some more? And you look at the equity. Yeah, dude, I'll give you another 10,000. 2,000 origination. Don't forget. Okay, so now I'm out of pocket 10 and I bumped it up 2,000, sent a notary to their house and did it all. I have to, dude, I don't even see their house. I send people to drive by sometimes, but they're happy. They've got another $10,000. That's life changing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
All at once. So, and they're not going to get it from a bank. That's why they come to you, and I do it within a week, within a few days, I can get them a loan. That modification last week within 3 or 4 days. I was in Panama the whole time I did it. So I was in Panama when I did it. So they love you.
Yeah.
And you don't have to deal with that. And at some point they'll be able to refi, or every 2 years, when those 2 years are up that I told you about, then I look at the balance, say it went from 30 to 35. That's a big growth. But say it went from 30 to 35. I'll do another 20%, 7,000 higher, and give them another 2 years. So now they owe me 42,000.
Wow.
They might get pissed about it, but that's the deal. If not, you can refi me out. But it's way less confrontational than flipping. That's why I like them. They're way more passive. At my age, I got sick of dealing with that crap, being an agent and all the confrontation that gets into it. And
that's a great point. I always tell our agents or whoever's looking to learn with us is you start off service level, agent, wholesaler, escrow, loan officer, whatever. Then you move up to like fix and flipper, investor, buying some rentals, and then maybe next on the like totem pole is developer. But at the top of it is private money lender, right?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah.
Well, we got multifamily too. Those
Of course, yeah, it's multifamily and BRRRRs, which we should talk about today because I know I watched this one video on your Instagram. If you guys don't follow Brian, please make sure you follow him. We dropped his Instagram handle right here.
It's fire.
Brian Hoff.
Real Brian Hoff.
Real Brian Hoff. Ton of gems on there. Learned a ton. Real value. So I was watching one of your videos and you said, hey, I bought this house. I could have sold it, made $50K, but I kept borrowing against the money and I probably purchased this one house probably made me over $1 million.
Yeah.
You speak to that?
Yeah. So
BRRRR method, right?
Yeah.
That was the BRRRR. Okay.
So when you take out a loan against a house, you don't pay taxes on it.
Yeah.
And then your interest,
Well,
the payment, so the payment that you're making on it is tax deductible. The interest is tax deductible. So that one house, let's see, I think, I'm not sure which I did two videos.
Like $200K or something.
Okay, yeah, okay, I know which video. Okay, so without getting into the numbers so much because I'm not looking at them, say you buy a house for 150. No, that house is like 54,000, right?
Yeah.
And then it went up in value. Now it's worth 450, right? So, as it went up in value, because it was easy to spend the 54,000 to buy it free and clear, right? But that was in like 2009, 2010, and as that property went up in value, I just held on. I could refi the money, take $200,000 out right now because it's worth over 400. I could take probably $300,000 out. Went and bought another property free and clear, right? Then fix that hot property up. That property is worth 450. Take out 300 on that, buy another property, and then you just keep doing that and you scale as you go.
And that, the whole time the tenant's paying off your mortgage.
All the time the tenant's paying off your mortgage. You get another tenant that's paying off the next mortgage, and then you grow. Yep.
So as you're borrowing from one house to go get to another deal, are you paying off that first one and then taking the HELOC from another? Or are you just compounding out?
I'm just compounding, getting loans as much as loans as I can get me, then I'll take them.
Yeah.
Especially when they're lower rates, that's the better. As long as I'm not eating it when it comes to cash flow, yeah, and making higher payments, than what I'm bringing in, that can get you in trouble. But for the most part, I'll keep going. And then if there's equity in that deal and I want to sell it, flip it, and take that extra money and put it towards another one, or 1031 into something else. And you can do this. I mean, you could keep borrowing against property, let that property keep going up value, keep borrowing against it, not paying taxes, roll it into the next one, and then 1031 into an apartment complex like I did.
Right. That's the goal.
And then you're never paying taxes on anything. And then someday I'll have 2 or 3 apartment complexes, and then roll that into a $15 million apartment complex.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, that's 200 units.
Yeah.
Let us get on that one.
That's what you just keep going. Keep going. You're not paying taxes on anything.
Yeah.
I've got that property in Washington. It's worth $1 million. Got 700,000 in equity. I kind of wait for the market to go back up. It's not a bad market there, but I want it to go back up because you get 5% on $50,000. So in a few years, I'm going to take that. I'm going to roll it into another multifamily without paying taxes on it. Yeah. But if I sold it, there's a huge tax liability. But if I roll it into 1031, I'm not going to pay taxes on it. And then I own an apartment complex.
Yeah.
Which is
cash flow
and huge tax deductible.
Yeah.
And that's how I grow.
So in the apartment complex tax that you're able to depreciate, is it per unit, or how are you doing a cost segregation, or what are you guys doing for taxes for the apartment complex?
They depreciate on
just
27 year. And I don't want to get too.
It's just like accelerated depreciation.
Yeah. I don't want to get too into the woods with that because that's going to distract a lot.
No, you're good.
It's complicated. So talk about it.
You see, for me, I'm like, oh yeah, when I get there, show me how to do that.
You get the tax deduction from the interest, and then you have the depreciation. So if you've got 20 properties in an apartment complex, I'd have to make a lot of money by flipping or pay any taxes. Put it that way. I'm not going to pay any taxes unless I make a lot of money by flipping.
Gotcha.
And making money on those. Like probably worth it.
Yeah, some way depreciation assets, and real estate's the only asset class where you can really make money on appreciation and depreciation.
Yes, and you get to say the house in Washington. I paid $550,000 for it. Okay, and then I put $120,000 into it. So I've got the deduction of $120,000. So if I make $10,000 a year on other things, that's offsetting that $120,000 that I'm out of pocket. It's offsetting the $120,000 that I made, the $10,000 a month I made.
Right.
And as long as I don't sell it.
Yeah.
So now it's just sitting there. When I sell it, I'm going to take a hit, but it's going to keep going up in value. And then I'm going to sell it, but I'm going to roll into something else in the 1031 and not pay taxes on it. And that's how you keep growing. Yeah. Well, I wanted to comment. You also talked about what you teach people to go, how you scale.
Yeah.
And I was doing a chapter in my book that I'm writing called The Evolution of Investors. That's exactly what you do. It's evolution of investing. You grow, you start small and you grow. And that's what most people watching this want to grow, and they're getting started. But that's how you do. You get started by maybe being a realtor, maybe selling a few things, maybe pick up a rental and sit on it. But you don't get lazy. You go for the next one. And then you go for the next one. As long as you can find loans and keep going, even if you're making $100, $200 a month positive cash flow, which kind of sucks because you're coming out of pocket for a water heater or whatever. As long as you have the income and your regular job to do this until you scale enough, or they went up in value enough, or you refi at a lower rate enough, or you work yourself out of the working class. Now, with the situation I'm in now, and I've been in probably for the last, 6 or 7 years, I have the houses, and now it's where can I put my money? Where's best use of that money? Whether it's apartment complex, an Airbnb, whether it's properties. All right, let's group home. That's a great income on a group home. I just rented a house out for $5,400 a month on a 5-year lease they have the option to renew for another 5 years, and it's going to grow at 3% interest. The loan goes up, the rent goes up 3% a year. It's a commercial lease, so $5,400 a month because it's a group home. So what's the next group home? They want more, so I'm going to put them into something else. Because I have other properties that have fire alarms and sprinklers that I could put them into. So you have a house that's renting for $3,000 a month, but I could rent to them as a group home and do another $5,000 a month because it's a 5-bedroom, 3-bath.
Yeah.
So I could put them into that and kick that tenant out, put them into that and do $5,000 instead of $3,000. And I got a long-term tenant. Or for example, take that and turn it into Airbnb. And I do $3,000 or $4,000 a month on that. So I have the houses, and once you have the money, or you've built enough stability where you have 5 or 10 houses. Now it's the best use of those houses.
Yeah.
And then you work yourself out of the working class by working in your regular job, wherever that is, and funding these, because now you can do that for a living. And that's when it gets really fun.
Yeah. Essentially, you're the bank. You could go into any bank and pull out equity from any of your properties because they appreciate it.
Well, you want to talk about investment loans? It's not that easy. I am at a bank now where they'll give me loans because I have an established relationship, and there's certain criteria that they look for, and I have that.
Yeah.
Some of it's, I have 10 properties, have $1 million, have so much cash flow, or, report certain things. Not everybody's gonna be able to do that, but they can do FHA loans in the beginning, or they can do a loan, and they could find a bank. Or what I would do in the beginning when I flip houses is, instead of going at hard money, I would bring friends in. I had friends that had, a few $100,000 cash, and I'd say, you fund the deal, and I'll give you a third of the profits. Now, some people are going to argue with some people that say, no, that's crazy. Why would you do that? You can get a hard money loan, and it's not going to cost you that much. But those people get screwed when they have to hang on to the house for a whole year to sell, because they're paying hard money for a year. And those are the people who take $80,000 hits on one house. I have a buddy that's in on it with me, giving me that, and I just get him a third of the profits. His cost on his money, he's going to get repaid when the house sells, and he's going to understand he's not going to make more money depending on how long I have to hold it. So that's what I did. My personal thing was bring friends in for a portion of the profits rather than pay hard money.
Or go subject
That's
to.
how I grew.
Yeah.
Or go subject to. Yeah, if you go subject to, then not. I mean, I did a house. The house I made money on last year. I mean, I spent $250,000 to buy it, but at the same time, I took over an $80,000 loan. So that's $330,000 purchase price. But I took over $8,000. They're like, why would you take over an $8,000 loan? It's only $80 on $250, because it came down to that. I needed that $80 to put other places. So I'm glad I took over. It's only $80, but I needed that. So anything you could do subject to, take it and run with it.
Yeah. Other people's money.
Other people's money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sell that house?
Yeah, sold it. And that's the one I made money on last year.
Okay.
The other one I took a hit on. Yeah.
I always tell the agents here to kind of diversify and think like an investor, because now I feel like I'm putting deals together that the conventional agents don't know how to do. Like, my client was only approved for like 400,000, but they wanted 450, so we're doing a subject to on the 50,000.
Yeah,
it's like, dude,
same kind of thing.
yeah, it's the same thing. It's
Same
like,
thing.
dude, just seller finance the other 50 to my clients. We'll close on the 400,000. You collect interest, and people are like, "How did you?" I'm like, "I don't know, my brain's just like, it's just
do that all day long.
Yeah.
It's a lot of practice.
Yeah.
And it keeps you young.
super
Yeah.
creative." Yeah,
The other thing, Eric, you talked about is you start people out with service.
right.
Apart from getting the right connections and involve yourself with successful people, I like successful older people, but besides that, and it's sinking in like osmosis, my life also changed when I started doing loans because I was providing a service. I stopped thinking about, dude, I'm going to take this person for money. I'm going to make this on this deal, this on this deal. I started thinking, how can I help this person out? And I don't know what it is. You can call it God, you could call it the universe, and I don't know what's going on here, but it will change your life, and calls will not stop coming in. When you're working to help people rather than to make money on people, your life will change.
Yeah, I agree.
I promise you. And it's the weirdest thing. And it's hard to convince people. People told me that for 20 years.
Right.
Dude, I'm not talk about it. I ignored it and I didn't get it. But when I enacted it, my life changed.
Yeah.
Yep.
The more you give, the more you receive.
Yeah.
Man.
It's just the way it works.
Yeah.
So have a service mindset.
Love that.
When you're knocking on doors, it's the way the world works.
Yeah.
When you're knocking on doors, dude, I want to help you out. What can I do for you? How we can make this work, how I could work for you.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be different than everybody else knocking on the door saying, how can I screw this guy?
Yeah.
You're gonna say, dude, how can I work this out for you? Make sense for you and me.
Right. Value.
Or give him a loan.
agree with
I feel like I'm doing a service by giving loans out.
So that house I was telling you about with the 400,000 in equity, it was an old man. I was trying to repair his credit so he could do a reverse mortgage on it because he didn't want to sell. He promised his deceased wife that he will never sell. He was underwater. He was taking construction loans after construction loans. He only owed at one time like 15 grand on the house. It got all the way up to 400,000 because of loan after loan after loan after loan. And every time we would rebuild his credit, he would miss a payment. I'm like, dude, this guy's never gonna pay off this house.
We're gonna list it in the beginning.
Yeah, I was in the beginning, but then I looked at it more of like an investor standpoint. So this house is probably worth 800,000. So I told him, what if I convert the garage for you? You deed the house over to me. I'll make the payments. You don't never ever have to pay me rent. You could live here for as long as you want, free, clear,
So he's living there for free now.
in the garage.
How old is he?
He's 70. So I converted the garage, and then I put a tenant inside the main unit.
They don't care. Tenant's cool with the guy having a girl.
They're cool. And then he deeded me the house, and I just gave him 5 grand. And it was a win-win situation.
Steal.
Yeah.
My uncle's got some deals. My uncle got major realtor. He's got some deals where it's like that, where they
Yeah.
hadn't paid and whatever, and he go to him like, "I'll buy this house from you, and you could just and buy it way under value, under 50% of value, and you could just live there until you die."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Dude, this lady's like 95. She's gonna live for fucking ever." He's like, "I'm so screwed on this. He's never gonna die." He's got a few deals like that where he's just paying them.
That's probably gonna be me.
They can live for free forever. Yeah.
It is what it
Well,
is.
it's only 70. That dude's gonna
Yeah.
be 85 easy.
Hey, it is what it
We'll
is.
see if you made it a good deal. Are you making positive cash flow on it?
So I'm negative like 2. I was. Yeah, until I refi.
Okay.
But I pulled out some equity.
Well, it's weird. I didn't see rental appreciation for like first 20 years of business,
Yeah.
but then it doubled like within like 5 years.
Yeah.
So just because you don't see rents going up, you will.
Yeah. Well, I ended up using that to buy another investment property.
Yeah.
So then I'm cash flowing on that one. So it's paying itself off. So
Yeah, right.
I just used 100K because I was like, let me refi. I took 100K out and then I started using it. I bought another property. Now that property's cash flowing. I bought that property subject to too.
You got it. You got the strategy.
Yeah.
It's a fun game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, it's like chess.
Yeah.
This is what I love about real estate. You're not swinging a hammer or anything. You're
Right.
actually putting it all down, and you figure out what works for me, what strategy works for me. How am I going to talk to this person?
Right.
Like, how am I going to make this work with this person? And then what strategy am I going to act to benefit me the most?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's fun, isn't it?
That's what we call real estate sports.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's
And,
a game,
like,
man.
Yeah, but you got to get that level. But
Right.
nobody understands how much fun this really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the end goal for you, Brian? What does that look like?
Well, I want a helicopter.
Really? So you can travel?
I think it'd be cool to have a helicopter. Yeah. I've always wanted a yacht, but then the more research I do, yachts are kind of a pain in the ass. So I think right now, I think helicopter would be a cool.
are you gonna
thing to
learn to
have.
fly it?
No, I don't have somebody do it. I'm afraid of heights.
I can't
Wouldn't that be cool to have a helicopter and be able to fly from city to city?
Yeah.
I mean, not from Phoenix to LA, but like around Phoenix or wherever. I think that would be badass to have. I don't think it's that big. I think you can get them for a reasonable amount. I think I could get there.
800.
Yeah, or I think 3 or 4 actually.
See?
Yeah,
Yeah.
cost me 8 with a pilot. But then you got, and jets. Yeah, but I think a helicopter's kind of cooler than a jet. A jet, I think I can get there, no problem. Yeah.
No.
So this is
Did you ever start doing real estate?
no, dude. I've known people that retire. Your brain goes to mush.
Yeah.
Even if you're in your 80s, you don't retire. Do also the worst thing I do is loans because I get to do math in my head. You never ever want to retire. I don't know why people think that. They think that passive income on lay on a beach and drink margaritas and do nothing.
Yeah, I got all these rentals.
Who wants to do that?
Yeah.
You always got to do something else. Even if you go to the beach a lot. I live in a beach town. I live on the beach basically,
Yeah.
and I'll go to the beach a couple times a week for lunch or to hang out on the beach on a Sunday and make ceviche, and that's my lifestyle. It's great, but you should come visit me. But you come to me. So
I got the invite.
so that's my lifestyle. But I'm also working all the time because I don't want my brain to go to mush.
Yeah.
You gotta be active. You gotta do something
No.
fun. You can't sit around and play pinochle all day long.
So
Yeah.
you're a great landlord. Is there a thing such as passive income when it comes to owning real estate?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Loans are the most passive you can get.
Loans,
The rentals, yeah.
rentals.
Unless it's vacant, then it's not passive anymore. Or unless the tenant moves out and I got a trashed one that I gotta fix it and I gotta go sue the tenant and all this kind of crap, then it's not passive. But when they're full, and you got good tenants, which I like long-term good tenants, keep the rents fair, maybe even low,
Yeah.
so they stay forever, renew their lease, give them a long-term lease and keep the rent less than market rate so they stay forever.
And
Fix.
I learned that on your Instagram too.
Yeah, I did.
Hey, look, offer them a little bit less than market rent, but extend their lease.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
fix everything. The second something's broken, I'm making calls. Air conditioner, I just text them. Like they call me, hey, my air conditioner's broken. All right, I send them the okay, call this guy. I don't because I don't want to call back and forth. I don't have time to call back and forth because I manage that myself. So call this dude and have him go out there. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah.
Or
You got
the toilet's broken. All right, here's a plumber. Call him. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah.
So I have the contacts in Phoenix to do that. The management companies, they do their own thing. It's way more expensive, but my Phoenix, I do it myself. It's only a pain when they're vacant. Other than that, life's easy, and I probably do less than 2 hours a month on my rentals. I'm talking 20 houses. Now, this is interesting. I worked harder on 4 houses than I did with, I had 35 rentals at one point. I worked hard. I sold them off to put money into loans. But at one point, I remember working my ass off with 4 rentals, much harder than I do when I had 35. You want to know why?
Why?
Because I didn't screen people. Tenant credit is everything. Screen their credit. Make sure they're above 650. Now, if you got a condo or something, like the apartments, that's why I don't manage the apartments. Because I don't want to deal with people because tenants in my apartment complex aren't going to have 650s. They're going to have 550s, and we're going to end up taking them. But I don't want to manage those kind of people. The houses, 700. Condos, 650. I don't care if it stays vacant for 6 months in a condo. I want a good tenant. If not, put somebody in, I'm going to have to evict them in a few months.
I need you to hear that.
Yeah.
I have a rental right now. I can't get anybody with good credit coming in. I'm just
Be patient.
yeah.
Be patient. I did a video recently where it had two places, and I was patient. I said no to a lot of people.
That's Jay.
But when I got them, they're both 3 years.
Yeah.
And the one that's 3 years wants to be 7. He's paying $2,350 a month. So
Yeah.
that's a lot for that neighborhood. So just be patient, wait.
Especially in California.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, don't lower your standards because credit is everything. It shows you what kind of person you're going to get. And this is interesting too. While I'm on this, when you get cosigners, which I don't like them very often, and here's why: because you get a cosigner, you're going to get rent on time because they're going to vouch for the other person. They're going to make sure you get your rent on time. But when that person moves out, the place is not good. The place will be halfway trashed. And you're going to go back to cosigner, you got to pay me. And they're going to be like, well, I didn't live there. What did you cosign for it? So then you got to get into it because something about people who have good credit, they take better care of houses also.
Right.
So I don't like cosigners because I get the house back. They get rent on time, but when I get the house back, it's not in good condition. It happens every time. And then I go sue right now I'm going to sue a cosigner.
Yeah.
I'll get my money because that's why he cosigned. He's got a 700 credit score and he makes a bunch of money.
Right.
But it's a hassle that I don't want to get into.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Be patient. Be patient.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I'm really in my it's like 1,200. So.
Then you can be patient. How long has it been vacant?
2 months.
Oh, nothing, dude.
Yeah.
Nothing. Lower your rent.
Yeah.
Lower your rent and get somebody better.
That's what I'm doing.
That's what you do. Then you have more. Then you have more variety. I've got one that's 1,200. It's a little condo. No one's coming around right now. I'm going to lower it to 1,000. Then I have my pick. That's what I want. I'll make a little bit less, but I won't be evicting somebody in 3 months.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's good. Good advice. Patient. Because I'm like, okay, it was 640. No, it's not bad. I'm like, no, I need like 700 or
Is
something.
it a house?
It's a little hot.
Then I'd probably go for 7. I might do 650 on that.
Yeah.
But here's another thing: is if they got a 610, but they really care about the credit, and you can see them really stressing about their credit and this and that, and they talk about it, and they're putting things in line to get good credit. Then that's what you want because that's the whole thing. Because they have something to protect.
Yeah.
When they leave, then you want to protect your credit. You're going to pay me for all the damage you did. Right. So if they do a long-term lease and you could tell that they care about their credit, then I take them too.
So you look at the entire report. Like,
well, I see that they're trying to make things and the conversations I have with them and why it happened. But in general, I have a 650 minimum on condos. But if I see that they're trying to make it better and they're doing things in line and the conversation I have with them, you could tell lots of times in a few conversations, you could tell if somebody's for real. I ran into she was like a speech therapy nurse.
Yeah.
A speech therapist, and she had a nursing degree, and she came into town to work at the VA hospital, and she had like a 620 credit score. Dude, of course she's going to be paying rent on time.
Exactly.
So you could tell by their job, with their education, and how they talk to you lots of times. Don't be fooled by sociopaths though, because they can be really slick.
Yeah.
So you look at their past, not in how they talk to you. And this goes with girlfriends and wives and people you do business with.
Yeah.
Watch out for slicksters.
You do first and last on security deposit.
I don't do first and last. I do I do first home move in, and then I do a security deposit, and I do the legal limit. No, you know what? I don't even do the legal limit. What I do is they say it's $2,500 rent. I make a $2,200 security deposit, or I make a $2,000 security deposit. I never have the same amount as rent. Don't ever do that. Okay. I've done videos of this when I first started, but they won't pay their last month if you make it the same. So if you make a $2,500 deposit, $2,500 month rent, they just, I already paid it. What are you talking about? That's my last month.
Oh, just hold my deposit.
Right, no, you make a different amount. That way it doesn't get confused. So always make it at least $100 or $200 difference.
Oh my God, so good.
I like that.
My last two tenants did that to me.
Same.
They stayed there for the last.
No, it's called security deposit. It's not called rent. Yeah, it's not called rent. It's called security deposit.
Okay.
So you never make it the same number, whether it's higher or lower. Never make it the same. Yep.
No leverage.
And they said I paid. I said, what are you talking about? No, let's make it clear. Let's make it clear here.
Smart.
That's good.
I like that.
Yeah.
Good gems.
Yeah, that was phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
There's lots of gems, and we have something we like to do on every podcast as we get to close, and we like to ask our guests, who are your top 5 real estate Hall of Fames? Things that it could be people you know personally, people that are just maybe have some influence, like that you learn a ton from. So who would you rank your top 5? Not in any specific order. Hall of Fame in real estate.
Famous people?
Doesn't have. It could be.
My uncle's pretty damn badass.
All right. So your uncle.
What's his name?
There's, Bill Hoff
Bill Hoff.
in Denver, and my cousin's Mike Hoff in Denver. But they, they've got over 100 rentals. They've flipped thousands of houses.
Yeah, I'm saying.
So, and then in this business, my uncle's probably been in this business over 40 years now, because I've been at 30. So, and he was 11 when I got in. So you're talking people that really know the business. So I had to put him on the list because he taught me, and my dad taught me how to sales. We didn't even get into strategies with negotiation, but I watched my dad sell all the time. Whenever we went into a house, and we would sit down in a living room to buy a house, he was in charge of selling to people.
Wow.
I would be in charge of selling the house once we acquired it, but he would be in charge of buying the property.
So
he just knew how to do it.
You were dispo.
He was the franchise system in Dallas was sending us letters telling us what we're placing the top 5 for buys this month and whatever. And they would refer people to us when they have potential new franchisees. They would refer them to us to say this is how it's going, and this is what we do. So we were on the list always because my dad was such a good salesman. He'd been doing it forever. Yeah. So that, and then Rod Khalif. I still follow his stuff all the time. I love the way he does multifamily.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's where we met at that.
That's where we met.
Yeah, and I think that guy's so got
Florida.
the best ever. The Godfather of everybody's Robert Kiyosaki, and he's my neighbor. And when I see him, I say hi to him and talk to him all the time.
You got
Where's that?
Yeah,
a couple photos with Robert.
yeah, I see him around sometimes. That dude knows everything. That guy who got me started in real estate.
That was
I
the book
read
that
it.
changed my life.
Yeah, I read his book probably in like 97 or 98. Yeah, back then. And that dude, he's like whole new way of looking at assets and liabilities.
Yeah.
And that was totally new to me. And I was probably like 21 or 22 at the time. And that changed everything for me.
Wow.
Well,
That's the perfect segue. You mentioned that you read a lot or self-development. What's the number one book other than Rich Dad Poor Dad that you would recommend to our viewers that changed your life or changed your perspective?
well, you know what? I like How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? Yeah. The Alchemist is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
There's in my life.
There's a ton. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's some of the best books I've written. Made in America. So those are all good.
You got 4.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking who else is there?
That's a good start lineup, though.
We might have to cut this and let me think. Yeah. Who else is there? Who else is a good real estate guy?
There's the bird one with 8th grade.
I have Brand Turner's really great. I've got a whole list of all the books that I have. I took a picture of it and it pops up on my Instagram once in a while. And I've got tons of self-improvement books and tons of real estate books. So it's hard for me to wrap my...
But you're writing a book.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
Well,
Is it going to be available? Or?
I'm working on the course first.
Okay, sweet.
So
how can people get your course?
I'm going to put on my Instagram. I'm going to put on my TikTok.
Okay.
It's going to put on my Facebook business page.
Nice.
And the Facebook business page is also, it's all real Brian Hoff. And I'm going to put that on. It's going to have 4 or 5 parts, and it's going to have one on buying flips, on buying properties under value, and how to do that, and how to negotiate. And that one's probably going to be like $200. Then I'm going to do one on managing rentals, how to get renters, and how to manage them.
Hey,
Yep. And then I'm gonna have one on managing my multifamily. I might even have one on decorating Airbnbs.
Ooh, I like that.
So
Decorating.
if you buy them all, there'll be a discount, but I'm gonna have parts of it, and you can buy different parts of that. And I'm probably looking at 60 to 90 days to have that out. I'm working on that now.
Private money, of course.
Oh, I got one on loans for sure.
you gotta-
We're doing one on loans.
You gotta have that.
Yeah.
Sign me up for all.
Yeah. Yeah. So the one on loans for probably $100 to $200 a course, and I probably have 5 courses all together. And then if you buy them all, there's going to be a discount. You're going to pay for 4 if you buy 5 of them.
How
So
about for our listeners, if they want them all, can they do like 30 minutes with Brian?
I'm working on that. I'm going to do a coaching program too. First, I'm going to do the course, but I'm going to do the coaching program too.
All right.
And I'm going to have people talk to people and then coach it through. I get people coming all the time, DMing me, wanting to do that. I give them pointers on how to get started. I always tell people, dude, message me I'm perfectly happy to give you all the free advice I want. But please, when the course comes out, purchase it. But for right now, you can message me and I'll give you any pointers I can. I get people calling me all the time trying to do this. This is why it's now all of a sudden, now that I'm at 30,000 followers, it's time to get serious about the course and put this down, because I want to pay for my advertising too.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Last one, Brian. It's the single most important piece of advice that you've learned. Can you give somebody a give you some advice right now before we end this? Something. Maybe something your dad gave you or something you've learned about.
But this is interesting, and I've talked about the most important things of doing it for a service, and then and they'll change your world, and evolve. Being around successful people will change your life just through osmosis. Mm-hmm. The third thing is taking the first step forward. Mm-hmm. People just sit there and they say that they want to be a millionaire, they want to have houses, but they never do that. Mm-hmm. And the first step takes you in the right direction. You point your car in that direction. You make decisions and you do it. All of a sudden you wake up and say, I want to be a real estate investor. You go buy the damn book. Read the book. Go to an auction and meet people. Point your car in the direction of an auction. Right. Take the first step to do those things. Buy the course. Whatever. They're not that expensive to get started. Go get your real estate license. Whatever you can to be involved, and that'll get the ball rolling, and then it snowballs. The problem is nobody gets past the talking part. They just want it. And then a lot of people, younger people, you guys probably know this, people your age or your friends or people younger, they don't make it in the first couple of 6 months. They're not making $100,000 a year and they give up. Does it sound familiar to you?
Yeah.
Because when I started this, I wanted to mentor people like your age, a little bit younger, actually, like 20 to 29, 20 to 30. And I wanted to mentor because they came to me and I wanted to mentor them. So that was who I put my advertising dollars for my Instagram to go towards those people. They weren't sticking through with it. So now my Instagram followers are probably 30 to 60. The thing is because of the instant gratification culture, they weren't making $10,000 a month their second month in, and they lose interest so fast. Real estate is a slow game. You can get there, but it's going to take years. You can wholesale and maybe make 20 to 80, 100,000 here and there, but that's not the real game that's going to get you rich. The real game is holding on to your properties, holding on to your rentals, holding on to your multifamily, growing your rental portfolio. Those are the real people that get rich. The people that are investors that hang on to property. And that takes 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
And people don't get that in this culture. That's what's happened in the last, the Instagram and the social media culture.
Right.
So put your first foot forward and make the step to buy a course, buy the book, buy the boot camp, and then stick with it. Because this is a long game. People don't get that.
Wow. Take the first step.
Those are 3 things. Then
Yep.
service.
Yep.
Hang around successful people and point your car in that direction.
Strong one. Yeah. Bet on yourself. So, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Brian, thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Incredible.
That was fun.
That
was fun. Were you okay?
Yeah, my God, it was so good.
All right, great.
It was
Thank
so
you guys.
good. Did you have fun?
I loved it.
Yeah.
This is my dream. This is exactly what I do.